Konnichiwa, Rukia, Byakuya, Ukyora. Art Senpai desu. Welcome to Art Senpai's Bizarre Background Adventure Part 3, Background Crusader. In Part 2, I've explained the theory of background perspective as well as the eye level. So now, I'm going to teach you how to implement everything we've learned into your background drawing. I hope you Kohai still remember our previous lessons. Make sure to watch Part 2 first or you won't be able to understand this video. Don't be that guy who only watched JoJo Part 3 and skipped Part 1 and 2 just because Part 3 has better memes. You gotta watch the previous parts to truly appreciate Part 3. My point is, make sure you watch Part 2 first before watching this video.
Which part 2?
You can click here to get teleported. Now, I assume everyone here has watched the video and know the basics of 1 point, 2 points and 3 points perspective. There are a few simple steps that you need to follow, and I'll explain them one by one. Let's go. A very common mistake made by beginners when drawing backgrounds is they treat the character and the background as two different objects, and that's incorrect. They are actually intertwined. The background and the character needs to share a common art direction, a common theme if you will, and they must not be drawn separately. For example, let's say you want to draw a character drinking something. Any drink suggestions, Aho-kun?
How about Delphine's bathwater? Let's go with coffee.
So, the theme is set. A girl holding a cup of coffee at a cafe. Now, doesn't this make your life a lot easier? With a theme in place, you know exactly what kind of background and poses to draw. So once you have decided the theme, the next step is to find references. Hello Pinterest, my old friend. I've come to search you here again. So, you will need some references for your background. In this case, a Starbucks cafe. For poses, you can search with keywords like girl drinking coffee to find your references. Trial and error is an essential part of the creative process. For professional illustrators, they will usually prepare up to 3 different sketches just for one drawing. It may sound disheartening, but the first idea is not always the best one, which is why it's advisable to sketch different variations so you can have more options to choose from. After some serious thought, I think the second sketch is the best. Alright, let's go with this sketch then. Draft is an early version of a work, while sketch is a rapidly executed freehand drawing that is not intended as a finished work. Don't mix them up. At this phase, you can start adding details like the clothes, hair, and of course, the background. But please do not overdraw it, because at the end of the day, the purpose of drafting is to provide the skeleton to draw your final artwork on. The journey is far from complete.
Nani? We need to do a second drafting?
Haha. Yes, the second drafting is extremely important and it puts your perspective knowledge to the test. All the execution is going to be jammed into this section, so listen up. Let's talk about the background first. So, the first thing you need to do is determine the type of perspective you want to draw. I don't want to complicate things, so I'm picking the good old 2 points perspective. As I've taught you in the last video, draw the horizontal line first. Then, put 2 vanishing points, one on the left and another on the right, and start drawing. That's it. Make sure you use the cafe photo from earlier as reference when you're drawing the background. Feel free to omit or add something to the background, but keep in mind that the background should be at least 60% identical to the reference photo. Now some of you might say,
Oh, that's not original at all. You are cheating. My goal is to draw from imagination.
well, say that to his face. Ever since the inception of this channel, I kept emphasizing how important and useful references can be, if used correctly. So don't feel ashamed for using references while drawing. Makoto Shinkai does it all the time. Anime studios do it, pros do it, I do it, and so should you. Well, except Kim Jong-gi. He doesn't need references. He is the reference. Back to the topic. We're going to talk about the perspective of the character. Firstly, we'll extend a few lines from the vanishing points. Then, we'll fix the anatomy by using simple geometries like cubes and spheres. By using this technique, we can ensure both character and background are drawn on the same perspective level. Here's an amazing illustration I found on Discord by chance, and it literally gave me orgasm. Before I start explaining, I'm going to retrace its perspective and determine the vanishing points. Now, I'm going to extend a few lines from the vanishing points. Will you look at that? The perspective of the characters is absolutely on point. Well, there are some minor mistakes here and there, but still, well done. Please give a round of applause to Swag360-kun. This goes to show how important perspective really is. Perspective is what makes an artwork appears to have form, dimension, distance, and space. In other words, it makes an artwork seem realistic. Those who master perspective master the illusion of depth and space. So, the draft is basically done, and the rest is line art, coloring, and stuff. Here's the end result. I'm sorry, I know it's not perfect, but please bear with me. So there's two types of background, the cheat version and the quality version. Here's a brief summary of the cheat version. You can either leave the background completely blank or paint it black. You can also try the contrast background if you're confident in your color picking abilities. Besides, theme-based and nature-based backgrounds are recommended as well, because it's easier to generate ideas when you have a certain theme. For quality backgrounds, you must pay attention to the perspective, not just the buildings but the characters as well. And most importantly, find references. I believe many of you kohais have this misconception. Drawing from imagination is the equivalent of drawing without references. That is incorrect.
But Senpai, I see a lot of professional artists can draw freely without any references.
In order to do that, can you imagine the sheer amount of pictures and images they have amassed in their brains to the point they can just draw freely by recalling imageries from their minds? And it's not like they're not referring to anything at all. It's just that they have reached a point where they no longer have to rely on physical materials for references. Phew. And that's a wrap for the background tutorial series. I hope you guys like it. Unfortunately, it's impossible for me to teach you kohais how to draw detailed backgrounds like bus stops, city, or high school, because a simple bus stop background has so many variations, and it would be pointless to make a tutorial video for every single one of them. What's important is you understand the fundamental angles and perspective of a background. That way, you can draw any type of background easily. Please drop a like, subscribe to my channel, and follow me on Twitter. DM me if you want a commission from me. Alright, that's all from me. Ja na, kohais.